In this program, we will discuss the Autopilot Flight Director system and its modes of operation. We will start with an overview of the system, followed by a discussion of command, pitch, roll, and combined pitch and roll modes. Let's start with a brief overview. The Mode Control panel is located on the glare shield. There is a single mode control panel for operating the Autopilot and Flight Director. Although the Autopilot and Flight Director are controlled from a common mode control panel, they may be operated separately. In this module, we will discuss the Autopilot. There are three autopilots: left, center, and right. Each autopilot consists of an independent flight control computer and autopilot servo. The flight control computer sends control signals to its autopilot servos. The autopilot servo provides control inputs to its hydraulic actuators. The hydraulic actuators then move the flight controls. The autopilot can control the ailerons and elevators, spoilers, and stabilizers. During an automatic landing and rollout, the autopilot also controls the rudder and nose wheel steering. During most phases of flight, only one autopilot is used. Multiple autopilots are used for ILS approaches and automatic landings. The Autopilot Flight Director System, AFDS modes, are displayed on the PFD. Elements of the flight mode enunciation are arranged in a specific order. Auto throttle modes are displayed on the left and will be discussed in a separate module. The Autopilot Roll Mode display is located in the center, and the Autopilot Pitch Mode display is on the right. The mode enunciated on the top in green is the Engaged mode. The mode enunciated on the bottom in white is the Armed mode. The Autopilot Flight Director Engage status is shown below the mode enunciations. Automatic landing status is also displayed on the PFDs. Question. Answer A is correct. Autopilot modes are displayed on the PFDs. Other autopilot controls are the disengage switches on the control wheels. Autopilot disengagement is normally accomplished by pushing either control wheel disengage switch twice. The first push disengages the autopilot, and the second push silences disengage warnings,
though the oral warning will still sound for 1 second.
Another means of disengaging the autopilots is to push down on the autopilot disengage bar. An orange line becomes visible on the upper edge of the bar to indicate bar position. The bar must be pushed up before an autopilot can be engaged. Now let's discuss engaging an autopilot in command. There are three command switches, one for engaging each autopilot, left, center, and right. To engage an autopilot, push the command switch. Engagement is indicated on both PFDs. The light bar in the command switch indicates which autopilot is selected. If you wish to engage a different autopilot, you must first disengage the engaged autopilot, then push the desired command switch.
Now, let's operate the autopilot in command. The center autopilot has been engaged. The PFDs indicate autopilot engagement in command. Atlas procedure is to engage the left autopilot on the captain's leg and the right autopilot if the first officer ever gets to fly.
If both flight director switches are off and the wings are near level, the autopilot engages in the heading hold and vertical speed modes. Heading hold and vertical speed are displayed on the PFDs. If the bank angle is more than 5 degrees during autopilot engagement, the autopilot engages in the attitude mode instead of the heading hold mode. Attitude and vertical speed appear in the PFD, and the autopilot holds this bank until another roll mode is engaged. When a mode is first engaged, a green attention box appears around the mode display for 10 seconds. With an autopilot in command, these switches are used to select various pitch and roll modes. When selection is made, the engaged or armed status is displayed on the PFD. Question. Answer C is correct. To engage a different autopilot, first disengage the operating autopilot, then engage the desired autopilot. Before continuing with the autopilot, let's review some previous points. There are 3 autopilot flight directors controlled from a common mode control panel. Autopilots and flight directors may be operated separately or together. Multiple autopilots are used for automatic landings. A single autopilot is used for all other modes of operation. Active autopilot and flight director modes are shown on the PFDs. Now let's discuss the pitch modes. The pitch mode selections are VNAV, flight level change, vertical speed, and altitude. VNAV relates to the flight management system and will be discussed later. Let's first discuss vertical speed. Selecting vertical speed mode permits climbs or descents at pilot-selected vertical speeds. Prior to engaging this mode, the vertical speed window is blank. This mode of operation can be selected by pushing the vertical speed switch. After pushing this switch, the window displays vertical speed existing at the time of engagement. The autopilot then maintains this vertical speed. VS appears on the PFD when the mode is engaged. The vertical speed can now be changed by rotating the selector. Now let's look at the altitude mode. One way to select this mode is by pushing the altitude hold switch. ALT appears in the PFDs. The autopilot then holds the altitude at which the altitude hold switch was pushed. If the altitude hold switch is pushed while climbing or descending, pitch control brings the airplane back to the altitude at which the altitude hold switch was pushed. Another way to select altitude mode is to set the desired altitude in the altitude window. As the airplane approaches the selected altitude, the autopilot automatically changes to the altitude mode. ALT appears in the PFD. The altitude hold light bar illuminates and the airplane begins to level off. The last pitch mode we'll discuss is flight level change. Flight level change is a coordinated pitch and thrust mode which provides automatic climbs and descents to pre-selected altitudes. Before selecting the flight level change mode, it is necessary to select the new altitude, in this case, 33,000 feet. Pushing the flight level change switch selects the flight level change mode. Mode engagement is indicated by flight level change speed appearing in the PFD. While in the flight level change mode, the autopilot uses the elevator to maintain the speed displayed in the IAS Mach window. The SPD in the pitch mode display indicates that the elevator is controlling speed. Adding thrust will allow the airplane to climb. Reducing thrust will allow the airplane to descend. Thrust management will be discussed in the auto throttle module. During flight level change, speed changes may be made by selecting desired speeds with the IAS Mach selector. The selected speed appears in the IAS Mach window and the PFD. During climbs, the IAS Mach window automatically changes from indicated airspeed to Mach as Mach increases through 0.84. During descents, the IAS Mach window automatically changes from Mach to indicated airspeed as indicated airspeed increases through 310 knots. If a change between airspeed and Mach is desired, a single push of the IAS Mach Select switch changes the display from indicated airspeed to Mach. Another push will change Mach back to indicated airspeed. Each time the display is changed, it shows existing Mach or indicated airspeed. The flight level change mode ends with an automatic level off. The result is level flight in the altitude mode at the pre-selected altitude. Question. Answer B is correct.
Command speed is displayed on the IAS, indicated airspeed slant Mach window, and on the PFD, primary flight display.
Question. Answer B is correct. When flight level change speed is displayed, airplane pitch is controlled to achieve the speed in the IAS Mach window. Let's review some of the main points we just discussed about the pitch modes. The altitude mode captures and holds the selected altitude. The vertical speed mode holds the selected vertical speed. The flight level change mode executes automatic climbs and descents to the selected altitude at the selected airspeed.